You good? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday, August 26th, 2025 Lower Paxton Township Authority meeting. Excitement. Get ready, buckle up. Here we go. First item of business is going to be the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. McCormick, if everybody can stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mr. McCormick, thank you very much. Okay, first item of business is approval of the minutes of May 27th, 2025. I think all the board members had a chance to review those minutes. Is there any changes or any suggested anything on those minutes you want to discuss? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Pramick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McCormick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we can do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Next item of business is public comment. So we will give anybody a chance for public comment on any items that are not on the agenda this evening. If it's on the agenda this evening, it will be covered in due time. So if you have comments that you would like to address with the sewer authority members here, you can step up to the mic there and we will give you a couple minutes of time to express whatever your issue is that you want to discuss. So any public comment at the moment? Yes?
Yes, I have a comment.
Yep, right here. We'll need your name. We'll need your name and address.
James and Cheryl Gordon.
Okay.
121 Oak Park.
Okay.
We're here to talk about the Colonial Park Drainage Improvement Project. November 9, 2023, it was determined that drain improvements were warranted for our area. We received a drainage survey and submitted it promptly. We met with the design team in August of 2024. October 2024, we received an email indicating that the project surrounding our property would be fast-tracked and constructed in 2025, as they didn't want to make us wait until 2026. By February 2025, people were out surveying around the property for this upcoming project. We found out in 2025 that July 2025, and our understanding was that the Colonial Park Improvements Project was approved for $500,000 for the 2025 storm water project per the township website. Not having heard anything in a while, we contacted Public Works Department to find out that when the project was to begin, so that we could prepare for it, whatever we needed to do to have people come in to do the construction or whatever. We were told by Larry, the last name is Larry? Hi, Larry. That Tim was no longer with Public Works and that nothing was going to happen with this project until 2027, if at all. It was approved and money was allotted. We would like to know, why was it changed? Why were we not told about this change? Where is the money that was allotted for this product or this project? We would like to know that too.
Okay.
If you like, we have a package here with all of our information, emails, evidence, whatever you need, if you would like to have it.
Yes. Why don't you submit that to Mr. Weaver right here?
Be happy to.
So we have that package of information. And I would say that let us give us some time to research this and try to figure out what the status of it is and talk to us township staff. Bill, is there anything that any other stuff on any?
Board members, just the background with the old public works director was he did have a project that he was looking at with the water company doing some work in there and the improvement of the road system and whether or not the stormwater should be done in conjunction with the water project.
Okay.
So right now, HRG is looking at some stormwater improvements, but the private property work is not advised to be part of that because we're not responsible for private
Right.
property work. So
Sure.
the actual projects and whether or not they occur in Colonial Park are still undetermined, and nothing's been submitted to the authority yet
Yep.
for Colonial Park.
Okay.
Okay, well, the only thing I have to counter that is that a lot of what washes down on our property comes from public property. And also there are some unclaimed drains that wash onto our property, which I don't understand how that's even allowed. You're not even allowed to have sump pumps, other people's sump pumps pump onto your property. So, I'd really like to have an answer on those questions. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it.
Yeah. Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be back in touch with you.
Could I make a comment too?
You sure can.
Our property is damaged, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Our bridges are collapsing, coming into our house. The water comes rushing in like a river. This isn't just a little drizzle of water because we're at the bottom of something. This is a lot of water. It's flooding. And our driveways are collapsing. Our yards are collapsing, all because of the storm water. It's somebody could get hurt in it, to be honest. I mean, the water can get up to, what, 6 feet deep by the edge of when in a bad storm?
It has,
Yeah. So, I mean, this is not just like a little puddle or something.
Right.
How many properties are affected?
It would start up on Fritchie, Mount Moriah Cemetery, which dumps water down in between our properties from the drain they have with a pipe. And then the pipe goes down in between 125 and 123 Oak Park Circle. And they have a big drain back there. All the water goes into there, and then it's piped in through underneath our gazebo, through our yard. Then it goes out through the woods, and then it goes under Oak Park Road and down along the, what's it called, the green
space.
green space, wherever the hiking path is. So, and we're all getting snakes. We get mosquitoes because of the setting water. This is all opened, and somebody did it. We didn't do it through the woods and under the roads and everything. I mean, somebody created this swale, and when they separated the sewer and what is it called? I got lost. Anyhow, when they separated the sewer and the stormwater,
Right.
it got worse. I mean, that's when we started getting rivers of water. So we also get sinkholes with running water that are going underneath the road. So it's not just a minor thing.
So I'm trying to understand, this is not a new problem, but there was a change that occurred and it exacerbated the
township.
problem.
Yeah.
And that happened when?
After the new sewer project.
Yeah, so, we did a sewer project in there, and we talked about this before, where as the sewer project's being done, it's where you're eliminating the I that's getting into the system. So by eliminating the I it gets into the system.
I
Now
just
the
wanted to
rest of that
understand-
stormwater has to figure out where it's
Right.
going to go.
I just wanted to try to define a little bit what you were telling me, that's all. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, we'll have a response to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, would the response be from the board or just Mr. Weaver?
It will most likely be from Mr. Weaver. Okay, all
Okay.
right, thank you. Okay, any further public comment? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Annette Blair, and I live on Sherman Street. And I also have major problems with rainwater runoff. So Sherman Street is a street that does not have any storm drainage whatsoever. And I'm in contact since 2024, after it was completed, with the stormwater, the sewer department, as well as with the Department of Public Works. I have several email confirmation, or email email correspondence as well as pictures sent back and forth. I had people out there from the township in February of 2024 to look at it because it is so bad. We were told when they closed up the sewer lines, 92% of the rainwater was originally going into the sewer lines. Now, where is it going now? It's ending up in my backyard. My whole backyard is a swamp. When I bought my house in 2016, I did not have a swamp. I had a nice backyard that I could use. I cannot use it anymore. The water runs off all the way from Mountain Road, where the plaza is, through all the other roads down to me. Unfortunately, my property is the lowest in the street, and I get everything from everywhere. It is that bad that it goes through the walls into my house, and my basement is always wet and damp. I have mold. The water is standing in my yard. We have mosquitoes. We have standing water everywhere. I cannot even mow most of the time unless we have 3 weeks of a drought. Then somebody can run the lawnmower through it. And I actually took the opportunity and I got a lawyer involved because I did not get any response from the township if I did not follow up on that. It was always me going forward. And the last email I got was from Larry. And he was telling me that this is a known problem and something is in planning in 2030. I don't have time until 2030. By that time, the foundation of my house has crumbled. So what I'm asking is that there is an intermediate solution to get this water out of the street. Either put storm drainages in. When Mr. Weaver and other people were out there in February of 2024, they were looking at it. We have a back alley that goes between the properties that could possibly be a drainage. It was thought about it, but nothing ever came of it.
You said you had correspondence from others in the township.
Yes.
Could you produce that correspondence?
I have your pictures on this memory stick. I have the emails. I'm happy to forward. Mr. Weaver actually has on all of these emails.
Okay.
So, are you interested in?
Sure. You
yes.
can give that to Mr. Weaver. So.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And yes, to just close that out, I would really like to get a solution on that problem too, because honestly, I don't have until 2030.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. My name's Sharon Orfanelli. I can attest to Annette. She lives on Sherman Street behind me. My mother had a trailer on the corner of Crosby and Catherine since 1979. I had it pulled away and I built a home in 2017. The drainage has never been like this. The last storm we had a couple months ago, I have pictures, and it's all from the strip mall. I grew up where the strip mall was. They tore our old house down. It's all from that. The roads are flooded. They put a black curb in front of my house. That kind of deters the water. But I'm on a cement slab, and I'm getting water under my house. And that last storm, I think I talked to, excuse me, sir, are you Mr. Weaver? Yes. Okay. I had them come out because across the street from me, there's a pole there. And it's supposed to go under the ground and go out and go down. There's a swale down on Sherman Street. It's not working, and the lady beside me planted trees all along it and put tan bark over it. You can see where the pipe is, where it's to do that. But there has to be something happening with the rainwater. It's like I said, I've been here all my life and been there since 1980, built this house in 2017, and the water is just getting atrocious. There's 4 down at the end of Crosby Street where the Churchill is. 4. And then I see them over across Catherine Street, my big house where I lived. There's 2 in front of that house where they don't even need it. Somebody has to check out things about the storm drainage.
Excuse
But
me.
thank you.
Okay.
Excuse
Thank you.
me.
Yes.
If you could write down your phone number and give it to Larry here. Larry's
Yes.
our stormwater engineer, and he can investigate the swales
Okay.
you're referring to.
And I have pictures on my phone. I wanted to take them today to get, to take the pictures off my phone and get actual pictures, and I can do that. But I have some pictures of that last storm, and I mean, the whole road was flooded.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. No, thank you. Any other further public comment? Yes.
Okay, I have lived in the township. Well, first off, my name is April. I lived in the
And
township.
what's your address?
1012 Balthaser.
Thank you.
Netta lives immediately behind me. I have lived in my house 35 years. I had a nice railroad tie out back, wall out back, saving me from the water runoff. We could use a push mower, do the ditch, whatever. Now there's a 2-foot gully. I can't even maintain it. The water has washed out all my railroad ties and eroded my property back by 3 feet. Besides that, Annetta moved in. When we met, she could walk the whole way back to the end of her property where her fence meets me, and we could stand and talk. You can't even step 1 foot into her yard now. The man that lived there before her had 2 children and a dog and had picnics. So, Dolly comes in, does all this. We're told about, Annetta told you, 92% of that system was disintegrated. I think they opened up a spring as well. But we were also tied by one of you gentlemen. We had 4 of you top gentlemen there. They told us that we were phase 1 out of 3 phases. In phase 1, you guys didn't consider the extra storm runoff. But in phase 2 and phase 3, that's all been corrected. And you'll get back to us. I am losing property. I cannot maintain it. I have mosquitoes out the rear end. And you guys actually came and did a water test because we smell sewer human feces. You told us it was all right. I'd like any of you to come down there and smell it. It is not safe. It is not sanitary. I have lived here 35 years. Something needs done. We have graded it ourselves. We have maintained it ourselves. But since Dolly came in and redid everything, we can't do it anymore. We can't. And besides what's going on between Annetta and I, Ryan here has another house on that Sherman Street. It just goes on and on and on. They came in and ripped out flower beds much more than they needed to, replaced concrete, cracked my old concrete, and the joints they put in, I can stick a ruler down in there and it goes 8 inches. What's going to happen this winter when all this water goes in and freezes? Who's going to pay for my new concrete? Who's going to fix Dolly's mistakes? It's the same way along my house where they dug. They put in this goop, and it's all sucked down in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like, that's all I really have to say unless you have a question for me, because after 35 years, I kind of know my block.
Ma'am, thank you very much. I think what we need to do is we need to,
Well, yeah, we have her address, and when Larry's out investigating the other property, he can look into what her
Right.
concerns are about
And
the sewer
if
project.
I don't know how you guys keep records, but I have sent you many, many videos, many pictures, that it literally turns into white water rapids back there. My grandkids have boogie boarded down this problem.
okay. Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Any other further public comment? Okay. Oh, we got one more. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Ryan. I also own a property on Sherman Street, and I just want to reiterate that it is on my property as well. So it's not just one or two properties.
Could you give us, could you give us your property address, please?
1007 Sherman Street. It's two properties up from hers, but it's mainly every house on that block. All the water runs down the street, and then all the water from the strip mall comes down. There's one culvert pipe. It all comes through there, basically comes through my property, and then goes through all their properties. So it's all this water has really nowhere to go but all of our properties, and it's causing foundation concerns amongst all the other concerns that they've brought up. But there's just a lot of issues with that rainwater runoff, and it doesn't seem like anything's being done about it. And my concerns are, if it's not addressed soon or now, then it's going to be a much bigger problem moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. So I think what we need to do here, Bill, is you and Larry, let's go out, assess the situation, report back, and see if there is some type of solution of any sort from a township perspective that we can address for them.
So the comments on Sherman, that was a sewer mini basin project, and it was designed and constructed before the authority owned the stormwater collection system. So if there would be a project that the engineer would select, again, on private property, we normally don't do stormwater work unless the engineer says that there's capacity upgrades that are needed and that there's a need to do work on private property. But
exactly.
Again, we'll certainly investigate all those complaints and
absolutely
get back to the board.
Okay. Bill, thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Real quick, my son owns the property next to me. I had to build bridges to walk to my son and to Annetta's.
All right. Thank you.
You guys have been out there 4 times.
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah, let's do this. So we got everybody's public comment on this matter. We're going to have our township engineer and Bill will take a look at the situation, and we will come up with something that works, that is within the township's purview of being able to do. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? All right. Hearing none. Let's go to board member comments. So I'll lead with board member comments. And first, welcome to the board. A couple of new board members that have been appointed to the board. John over here, he's also a township supervisor, has been appointed to the board. Laura Kurtz, who's also the chair of the board of supervisors, has been appointed to the municipal authority board. And so has Mr. Don Enders at the very end there. Mr. Enders, as always, it's an honor and privilege to serve on the board with you. And we're looking forward now that we have a full complement of board members. So I just want to say to the 3 new board members, welcome to Lower Paxton Township Authority. Any other board member comments? All right, let's go on to general authority business issues. First item of business is the independent auditor's report for the 2023-24 authority financial statements. Mr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The Authorities Act does require that the annual audit be presented to the authority for their approval. It also requires that a concise financial statement be advertised, and also the annual report submitted to the DCED. The finance manager has submitted the annual report on time to the DCED and also has done the advertisement for the concise financial statement. The only remaining item is for the authority to approve the statements. So I just want to give the board a quick overview. For the last few years, they have been a combined statement. In the beginning, you'll see the MD&A. That's been a sort of a clean audit where there's no findings. I just always point out for the board on page 43 provides your total debt under note 5, which has at this time a total debt of $163 million. 143 million of that is sewer and 20 is stormwater. And as a combined statement, it's more general with the township, as the authority is run by the township through a management agreement. You'll find in the audit the actual financial statements of the authority starting on pages 82, 83, 84. I always like to point out on page 83 that the authority is in good financial order. You'll see under investments that we do have $20.3 million invested in the bank and surplus funds that we'll talk about under the next agenda items for using that funding for offset future sewer rates. And we have for stormwater $6.3 million in investments. So the authority is in good financial shape, and the audit has been prepared and ready for board action. I'll be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Yeah, Bill, thank you very much. So again, the opinion's considered unqualified, which means it's a clean opinion for those in the audience. So again, it's the opinion from the auditor Zelikotsky Axelrod is clean. The thing to note on this audit report is that I think the size of the township authority and the amount of assets and debt service that the authority handles and manages. Keep in mind that we do have a very high bond rating as well because of the management of the authority and the ability to maintain a strong balance sheet. So there are no other questions on the audit. I mean, the audit is what it is. It's unqualified. It's clean. So I think it's ready for board approval and action at this point. Any other questions from anybody? That's my strong suit right there, right? Because as being a CPA, I get to read financial statements. There we go. All right. Is there a motion to approve of the financial statements for the authority as presented?
So moved.
There's a Mr. McCormick with an approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pramick. Any further discussion? We can do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, all right, we got the financial statements approved. Let's go on to the sanitary sewer fund, new business. First item of business is presentation by PFM for the 2025 bond issue.
Bill, I don't know if you wanted to give any type of intro or we can hop into it. Either one works.
Very briefly, board members,
Thank you.
Staff reached out to Zach and PFM. We always like to start early, so a few months ago we reached out and requested his assistance in preparing for the board a proposed bond issue as we were slowly running out of bond funds from the current bond issue. And GHD, our engineer, prepared a corrective action plan for DEP. And that provides for the sewer improvement projects for the next 2 to 3 years. And Zach has prepared a bond issue for the board to review tonight for their consideration.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so Zach Williard from PFM. Also with me is Carly Kiesling. We're going to talk about the handout in front of you. We're going to talk about the numbers. You know, really this is the next step in the financing plan. We knew this was coming at some point. The financing plan usually is fluid just based on how quickly the projects move. So we're at the next step. And then after we go through that, you have your bond counsel here, Ryan Gonder and Erica Weibel, who are going to walk through the debt resolution as well. And then this will be available for vote tonight. And then this would then go to the township at their meeting next week. All right, so feel free to ask questions. Carly and I are going to tag team this. If you flip the handout open and go to the first page, you always have an interest rate chart in here. The real quick takeaway on interest rates is, you know, over the past few years, we've heard a lot about high interest rates, right? 7-8% mortgage rates, you know, car loans, those types of things. Those are all real, right? But when the township and when the authority borrow money, you borrow in a different space than kind of what you usually hear about on CNBC or Bloomberg, right? So you borrow tax-exempt debt, which typically has a lower interest rate than kind of all those other things you hear about. So when you're pricing a bond issue in today's market, you know, you're somewhere, depending on the credit rating of the issuer and how long the debt is, you know, you're going to be somewhere between 4.5% and 5.25% fixed rate for, 20 to 30 years. So just to kind of make the point that while interest rates are very high in different parts of kind of all of our daily lives, the rates that we're talking about here are still, kind of at the, 20 or 30 year norms, kind of in the mid 4s to low 5%. Okay. Any questions about that?
Nope.
If we flip to page 3, we'll go through this part real quickly, but as Bill mentioned, we're talking about the authority borrowing $5 million, all right, for the next phase of the borrowing plan. And if you do remember, we're here tonight to talk about this, but ultimately the township is the borrower of the money. That's the way it's always kind of been done with the sewer fund, and that would continue to be that way. So as I said, Ryan and Erica will talk about the debt resolution and the subsidy agreement. The goal is to complete all this kind of before Thanksgiving. We'll lock in the interest rate probably early October to mid-October, and then typically it takes about 30 to 35 days to close the transaction when you actually have the money in the bank. That would be the timeline that we expect. And we have a sample timeline in the back of the handout. Real quickly on bullet number 2 there, 2A, the expenditure test. We just like to say this, and this isn't going to be an issue here, but when you borrow money, you do want to make sure that you're going to spend 85% of that within 3 years. The feds don't want you borrowing tax-exempt money and then kind of figuring out your projects later. Again, not an issue here. You have plenty of projects going on. We have draw schedules and very professional estimates from your engineers, but we just always like to point that one out. And then lastly, under parameters ordinance bullet 3 there, so we're going to borrow what gets you about $5 million of net proceeds, all right? When you look at the actual resolution and what will be in front of the township in a week is something higher than that. It's about $7.8 million. For those of you that are kind of new to this process, the way you do this is you pass what's called a maximum parameters resolution or ordinance, and typically that number is quite a bit higher than what you're actually going to borrow. It kind of creates the box that bond counsel will then take to the state. We're not going to borrow the money for a few weeks now. We still have to go through the credit rating process. We still have to put together all the documents. But by passing the debt resolution up front, it then allows the team to be flexible with the timing so that we don't have to tie this to the next time the township meets. We can pass the resolution at the meeting, and then we would have the ability to price the bonds when we're ready and when the credit rating's back, and as long as market conditions warrant to go out into the market. So again, you're going to see that higher number, but we're only actually going to borrow what you need, which we understand right now, Bill, is to be about $5 million, give or take.
Correct. Yep.
So any questions on that? That's always just kind of a strange one, but it's just the process.
Yeah. Nope, I don't think so. You can keep going.
All right, Carly, I'll let you quickly go through the next couple of slides.
Yep, so flipping to page 4, this is the township's overall aggregate debt service that's outstanding. So this is all the bond series that the township currently holds. What is most important on this page is column 12, and that's the total annual debt service. And you can see that it is level or declining from fiscal 25 that we're in, and it currently goes out until 2050. The next page is a little more important to the project that we're doing with the sewer funds. This is the sewer fund allocation portion of the debt service on page 5. So this is all outstanding bonds that are related to the sewer. So this is the sewer debt as it stands before we issue this next proposed issuance of 2025. So you'll see currently the sewer fund in column 11 has approximately 10.2 million outstanding over the next 13 years or so, and then there's a drop off and the debt rides out until 2050. So if the township were to do nothing, this is where the sewer fund currently is at and where they will continue to pay moving forward. Any questions on outstanding debt?
Nope.
So moving on to page 6, lots of columns and lots of colors. This is the proposed financing plan that Zach alluded to is very fluid. What we're currently focused on this page is the yellow column or with the red box around it, or column 2 and 13. That's the proposed debt service for the 2025 issuance and the proposed structure. We're going to be funding a $5 million construction construction fund deposit for the projects needed. This is set up very similarly to the 2024 issuance that the township and authority did last year. Given that it's a 25-year term, it has the wrap structure, so you'll see in column 13 there are some smaller payments up front, and as you follow the debt down throughout the term, they increase slightly, where we're filling in principal after the drop-off in the current sewer fund. The slight difference to this transaction from last year is that given the size of $5 million, it's what we're going to call bank qualified. And the real difference there is the call date that the authority and township will receive. Instead of having an 8 to 10 year call date on this transaction, it will be 5 years. And that's just given that 10 million is the bank qualified special number. And if you issue 10 million or less in a calendar year, you can have advantageous aspects to your debt, such as shorter call dates. And given that this is one of the only projects that's coming through this calendar year, the authority and township will be able to take advantage of a shorter call date, which means you'd have a potential refinancing ability a couple years earlier than some of the other larger issuances that are outstanding.
Yeah, that's why you care about this, because you can refinance the debt faster. Instead of waiting 8 or 10 years, you can do it after 5 years.
So looking on this page, column 11 is that existing sewer fund that I just went over on the previous debt portfolio page. If you track this over until you hit column 20, this is really what we're looking at the end of the day. The next couple borrowings that are on here that are some smaller amounts over the next couple years, this is very fluid. It could change. We could combine some of them to make them slightly larger. We could push timing out. That is kind of as things are firmed up as the years move on. But what we're looking really on this page is column 20 and 21, and this is at the end of the day of the proposed plan. That's where the township would possibly end up at, right around 11.5. It shows the estimated budgetary impact in column 21 throughout the years, but we're mainly focused of just issuing columns 2 and 13, and that's what we are estimating the debt service for this next transaction to be.
So for this specific transaction, you're going to go from that number on the previous page, which is about 10.2 million, up to about 10.434 in the 26 budget year. All right, so rates in place will then be available to make the debt service payment on that number.
And the key here too is we've leveled that debt service over that, into 26 and going forward as well to try to keep that from a budgetary perspective. We can keep that leveled out between principal and interest payments.
Correct.
So thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Okay.
And then lastly, we'll just do this real quick. But so on page 7, you have a timeline. So like we said, we're here tonight. Next week, it's in front of the township. And then, the financing team will kind of do all the necessary steps in conjunction with Bill and the township to get the credit rating, get the documents ready, lock in the interest rate, and then put the money in the bank before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we'll hand it over to McNeese. If you have any questions about the numbers, happy to answer them. Otherwise,
Does any board members have any questions for PFM? Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. Yep. Mr. Gonder, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir.
Nice to see you as always. I'm Ryan Gonder from McNeese, Wallace & Nurk, and this is Erica Weibel. She's also at McNeese as well. We're both the firm's bond counsel for the authority here in the township. And what we have that you're pulling up, Chairman Blaine, is resolution number 25-02, and then the other document in front of the board tonight is the first amendment to the subsidy agreement. Let's start with the resolution. You'll see in the third whereas clause, I'll just give the highlights. We were actually here doing the exact same thing last fall.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's the same document structure.
Right.
But the third whereas clause defines the project. You'll see there in little Roman numeral I, the design, planning, acquisition, construction, and/or equipping of improvements to the authority sewer system, and the payment of the cost of the issuance. That's the project. And then sections 1 and 3, after the therefore portion of the resolution, you'll see that this resolution contemplates authorizing that project and then approving the first amendment of the subsidy agreement. And the first amendment of the subsidy agreement is basically stating that the authority will pay for the bond, but the township will go out for it.
Absolutely.
With that being said, I've distributed the packet or the resolution for signature if there's a vote tonight. And am I missing anything?
Nope. Happy to answer any questions.
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for our friends from McNeese on this bond?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If there's no questions, staff would request the board to take action on the resolution as presented. It does need board approval for the resolution for the subsidy agreement.
All right, Bill, Mr. Weaver, thank you very much. If there's no further questions, I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2502, authorizing the bond issue subsidy agreement.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Ramsey, second by Mr. Pramick. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, let's, I think we do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Nice seeing everyone.
All right, next item is the Resolution 2503, authorizing the reimbursement agreement with PennDOT.
All right, I think that's me.
Is that you?
That's me.
How you doing today? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Well, it's nice to see everybody again.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. So here we go. Nice
right.
road, right?
So this resolution's associated with PennDOT's bridge replacement project along Nyes Road near the intersection with Pine Hill Road. By signing this resolution tonight, you are agreeing to purchase and supply the manhole frame and covers and the cones that are required to raise the manholes after this work is complete. And in signing that and agreeing to supply the materials, PennDOT is going to cover the cost of the construction to install and raise the manholes and to televise the sanitary sewer in that area before and after the bridge project's done, just to ensure that your sewer is in the same condition it was before the bridge project started. So by signing that one, you're just agreeing to provide the materials.
Yes, this is pretty standard for those that are new board members, so there's nothing here that I would say is unusual. Any questions from board members on this resolution? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2503, authorizing the reimbursement agreement with PennDOT?
So moved.
Mr. Enders, was that you? All right, Mr. Enders, all right, so it looks like you're another area code down there. So is there a second?
I
Second with John?
Yep.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I think we do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right. On to the draft 2026 sanitary sewer budget and sewer rate model. Mr. Weaver. Which one would you like me to open up first, Mr. Weaver? The actual budget or sewer?
The rate model would be probably best to start with, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. You made this as microscopic as you can possibly make it. So.
You may want to blow that up a little bit.
I'll try to blow that up there for you, guy.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the rate model was prepared originally by GHD about 25 years ago, as the sewer projects and the consent order requirements required a significant amount of debt over the life of the consent order over 30 years. The board asked GHD to prepare this model. We've been using this for decades now. 20 plus years ago, GHD and staff asked the board for direction on the inputs needed to run the model, and that would be what percent increases in sewer rate increases would you like to see as a cap on annual percentage rate increases, and also what would be the target cash reserve. So the board provided that direction, and the direction was to keep rate increases at 3% or lower to match inflation, and also keep enough cash reserve to match 25% of our annual expenses. This model has been prepared to meet those board requirements. Just a little bit of background on the data inputs for the last year. Sam Miller, our past finance director, assistant manager, inputted those numbers in red. They would be the 2025 budget numbers that we have. And in 24, he did input the final audited financial statement numbers. So this model up through 24 and 25 is complete. All of the other numbers that you see going out are basically just a 3% increase. The model has a 3% increase for expenses. Zach and PFM just left. The only difference is when you look at your projected debt, starting on, forgive me for a minute for the row, or it's starting on, the row number's not on there. It's basically towards the end there with your debt service schedules. We use the numbers you just saw from Zach on the wrap and the annual debt that you're going to see going out with the future bond issues for the next 10 years. So the only thing it's not a 3% increase is your actual projected debt service. So this model shows that you will need a 3% increase next year in order to meet your guidelines. That equates to a $5 a quarter rate increase. We were lucky enough with interest rates, what they are, and the cash reserves that we had, the annual income from tapping fees with successful development tap fees received, and the interest income in the sale of the Commerce Park lot that we didn't have to raise sewer rates for the past 3 years. However, the model now does show that we have to raise rates. I'll be happy to answer any questions on the model. No action needed tonight. This is just a presentation.
Yes, I was going to say, Bill, this is a preliminary budget.
Yep.
It's August. We still have 3 more months that we can modify this, massage the numbers a little bit more to review what that rate increase might look like at the end of the day against whatever final numbers that we get better feeling for what those expenses will be. Right now, we're anticipating that we would have a small rate increase. But again, that could change. So let's everybody just stay calm. Let's kind of play this thing out for the next 3 months and kind of work through the numbers and massage them as best we can. But with the amount of with debt service, additional debt, and the fact that we really haven't increased rates in 3 years right now at this point.
3, yes. Yep.
And you look at the rate of inflation over the last 3 years versus the fact that we haven't increased rates. I mean, at some point you're going to have a rate increase of some sort. I think 3% is pretty reasonable. But again, some things that I think we could possibly look at or do to maybe minimize a little bit of that rate increase. So again, this is just preliminary at this point. Any questions from any of the board members at this point? Bill, do you want to go through the details of the budget at this point?
Mr. Chairman and board members, normally what I do is just give you the highlights and the revenue expenses just to highlight a few items. So the sanitary sewer fund budget has a projected rate increase that does show right now for 2026, and that is the sewer rental charges, and that gets you revenue of $17,915 for total revenue proposed for 2026 at $19,196,556. That's total revenues projected for 2026. Under expenses, you have your new debt that we just approved that will be added in, and with all of your other total expenses for sewer, you're looking at expenses in 2026 in the amount of $20,472,813. That's your general operation and maintenance budget. You will note that the expenses are slightly higher than revenues. However, with the surplus funds that we do have, those funds are used to offset the deficit. And we have those to sustain for quite some time. If there's no questions on the O&M, I can move to the capital. Under the capital, this is sort of good news in some respects with all the work we've done and with the consent decree work, that the sewer work is actually slowing down considerably. You will note in PC3, we have $1.6 million to close out that current project. And other than that, we are just doing design looking at designing future projects and closing out all the other older projects. We always have $300,000 in for any failures in the main line. So your total projected capital reserve or capital expenditures for 2026 is $2,436,000 even. And that's the lowest that we've had in my career here. So that's good news. We're slowing down in the sewer projects.
Yeah, Bill, too, or Mr. Weaver, I should say that, this is testament to the fact of decisions that we were made 20 years ago, where we decided not to go to storage and we decided to just go to complete I&I removal and going in and replacing lines. And now that's really paying dividends to the point that it's allowed us to really eliminate our I&I into the system, to be able to meet state mandates, and to get us to a point where we can now slow down some of the work that we're doing, some of the design work and sewer replacement work. That will allow us to better manage the budget going forward. So, I mean, again, I think we're now. It took a while, but we're seeing the results of that work.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, any questions from any board members on the budget that you want to ask Mr. Weaver? Okay, great. That's awesome. Okay, so no action needs to be taken tonight. Again, we'll continue to massage those numbers a little bit more, hone the revenues and expenses in, and come back in November with a final budget for approval. Okay, on to township reports. Review of presentation to DEP, SWAT era for the second consent decree.
Yes, board members, Alton is here. Alton with staff prepared this presentation, and
Mr. Whittle, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing all right?
How's everyone doing tonight? Yes.
Gee, man, looking good.
And I did alert Alton that we had a long meeting tonight, and please don't go through all 45 slides. I'm sure he can highlight a few for you.
He said he added a few.
Most of this was presented as the report at the last meeting when I was here, so there's no new information here. I think I just wanted to follow up on the meeting itself. Before I do, I just wanted to carry on with what Mr. Blaine had mentioned. When we first got the consent decree in place, I believe the budget had been at the time was going to be $8 a year, $8 a year increase every year. And with the work that the staff have done and the program itself, we've been well under that. And to go for 3 years without an increase was pretty successful. So, yes, so we met on July 29th with DEP. They were very pleased with the I&I removal. They went so far as to even say that they're using this as a template to provide to other municipalities on how to approach I&I removal. So that was a pretty big boost for the staff to know that they're doing well. They agreed that we are ahead of schedule, and that was another big item that was brought up. A couple of things that came about. We did cover the Beaver Creek cap, which if you want to go a couple more slides is probably one of the bigger items. It might have been at the beginning, sorry. We really don't need too much of the slides. It's just there for your reference of what was presented along with the report. But we covered what's in the new Beaver Creek cap, and DEP was in general agreement with that. They were going to take it back and review it along with the report and give us a final answer here on whether they accept that. Historically, they've told us it's our corrective action plan, so they're not, set to do too much changes to it, but they do get an ultimate response on that. So that was great. They were very happy with that. We discussed, actually, interesting enough, getting out of the consent decree earlier. They were actually in agreement that we have substantially completed the majority of the items held within there. There are a few dates, so they're going back to their legal department as well as Lower Paxton's authorities looking at their legal requirements in it. But there is an opportunity to potentially look at getting out of that even earlier. The original date set for everything in there is completion by 2033, but most of the major milestones have all been met. And we expect with the rest of the next project in Beaver Creek to substantially address any of the remaining ones there. So
I think for perspective, people have to understand, we've been in a consent decree with DEP since, our first consent decree was in the late 90s. The second one was 2002, right?
Yes.
That's how long it's been. It's been a long time.
It was
1995 was the first one.
1995 was the original, yeah.
Very interesting, because even DEP agreed that some of the wording was a bit vague because they don't think anyone at the time thought that this was going to be this successful, so they just anticipated it was going to be continued. But yes, so we're looking at that as an option to see. I mean, there are two things. We got to make sure that the authority's rights are, protected, because there is some protection within the consent decree given, and to make sure that the benefits would be better if we got out of it early as well. So that's all being evaluated right now, and is good. Very, very good issue to have, is trying to get out of it early. Some of the other things that came up, we did review with Swedera. There is a separate Swedera settlement agreement that's in there, and we did discuss that settlement as well. I don't know if, Bill, if there was anything specific you wanted to cover there, but that has to do with the amount of flow going to Swedera and any restrictions there on growth approval. But again, very good conditions. We're looking at those conditions for capacity being met and whether that's acceptable at this point to get out of that separate agreement. The only other thing I really wanted to mention, another big item that came out of this, was DEP mentioned using the report to support the CRW's long-term consent plan that they're going through now to demonstrate that the municipalities contributing have been doing their part, and use that as a way to offset any slide back from that coming back through to the municipalities in terms of additional removal needed for CRW's program. So that was nice to know that DEP is on our side in terms of the success rate there. With that, if there's any questions, if there's anything on the slides, I can go through them.
Yeah, are you good with the slides at this point?
I'm good. I mean, like they're there. They're basically just excerpts from the report. So we covered the report last.
So everybody had a chance to review the report in your package. Is there any questions for Mr. Whittle? The meeting with DEP on the second consent decree.
While you're thinking about questions, I will just reemphasize this is the first year without any sewer overflows, which is the ultimate goal.
It's
of
amazing.
It, so.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you think about it. I mean, I just think about where we were. It's crazy how many sewer overflows we would have.
And along with the stormwater concerns earlier, it has been wetter. I mean, like there is that one graph in there with the number of overflows historically. At the beginning of the program in 2000, we were lucky to get 3 large events a year. We're averaging like 30 plus wet weather events a year now of sizable measure. So our area has definitely had a change in the amount of precipitation that it's gotten over the last 20 years.
Any questions on the report? Thank you very much, Lawton and GHD. We really appreciate everything you've done, and it's been a long time, and you've been long partners with Lower Paxton Township. So thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the engineer's report, which I know you love to give the engineer's report on the sanitary sewer system. Anything you want to cover on the engineer's report, or is this mostly covered already?
As mostly the first couple pages are covered.
I was going to say consent decree, modeling, wet weather summary.
Yeah, so the construction projects are what I'll go over since those haven't been touched upon yet. BC7, that project is essentially done. There's a couple punch list items left to do, like the road striping on Devonshire Heights, and there is an ADA ramp that needs to be reconfigured just because there's some drainage issues in that area just from the way it was constructed. But essentially that project is done, so we were working to close that out with Dolly. The PC2 trunk line project, that one is also substantially complete. There is some restoration needed on that project in the yards, and then there is some lining that's still outstanding for the what's the word I'm looking for? The external repairs portion of that contract, but that one is substantially complete as well, and we will be working with PAC to close that one out here shortly as well. The emergency repairs contract, that is going to be expiring in November, so we're working right now to put together another contract to get that out and awarded before your contract expires, so that you have something in place in case you have some emergencies that the staff can't handle. And then we talked about PennDOT as well, so that's all extra I really wanted to cover. If there's any questions.
It'd be great if we got that Locust Lane project moved up to 2025. I just can't understand how a road that's as heavily traveled as Locust Lane has been in such disrepair for years like this, and we can't get PennDOT to get this project done. It's crazy.
No, we don't want to raise those manholes too early, because then you'll
Yeah,
have the
exactly
ramps
right.
and
Yeah. So.
yeah, it'll be worse. So.
Okay. Is there any questions for GHD on the engineer's report? All right. Hearing none. Let's move on to the Stormwater Fund, the new business. First item is presentation by HRG for the Stormwater Management Plan. So, Jason, I think you're up.
Actually, I brought some help tonight.
Oh, you did?
Bruce Holsheiser here, who's
Okay.
been helping us develop a plan with staff that we think will be very beneficial for the authority's stormwater system.
All right. Mr. Holsheiser, how are you?
I am great.
You're doing good?
I'm honored to be here the night when this presentation was given.
That is so good, isn't it?
I don't know many people in Pennsylvania that would think this way, but Lower Paxton Township in the sewer industry is the stuff of
Yeah, I tell you, seriously, isn't it?
I'm
I mean,
serious.
come on.
Yeah,
Come
like
on,
people
we're
know
the
about
bomb.
you.
We're the bomb. We get it done.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's great. And you should be doing presentations.
With pride.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your asset management
Yeah,
plan.
so this is on not the sanitary sewer side, but on the stormwater side. Stormwater is the new sanitary sewer, if you will, across the Commonwealth, including in Lower Paxton Township, that hasn't been given a lot of attention, and it needs attention. So in working with the staff, the thought was, what we really should do is put together kind of a broad picture, a comprehensive, holistic picture of the asset management that needs to happen over the next 10 years. So let's understand the regulatory pressures. Let's understand our current infrastructure and their condition, which I will say every municipality I've worked in haven't paid any attention to that for many decades. And then you guys have done more than most municipalities I've worked in, which is great. And then, other concerns that are in the community related to stormwater. So assemble those together, a needs evaluation, and then work that into a capital improvement plan, including how we're going to do it, who's going to do it, how much it's going to cost, when are we going to do it, where we're going to get the money from, and then ultimately how's that going to affect our revenue needs and our rate strategy. So that's the very high level. I'm trying to give the shortest report tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions. That was given in a written version that you have in front of you.
So I think, we've talked about doing this in the past, having an asset management plan, and this is, the time is probably appropriate to visit this and come up with a game plan on how we're going to review our assets and how we're going to manage these assets over the next number of years. So any questions from
just
board
a
members?
comment, Mr. Chair, from staff. So we try to parallel, we've been very successful in sewer, so we try to parallel our success in sewer into stormwater. So this is why this is so important, because we had a really good strategy and a really good plan and a lot of success on the sewer side. On stormwater, we have no plan right now. So just want to point out that this is the significance of this action tonight.
Yeah, and Bill, I'll add maybe just for some more background. Historically, the project selection for stormwater projects has been what projects are too big for Public Works to tackle. Once the authority took over the stormwater system, it became a little bit more strategic, where we were following the sanitary sewer work under the consent decree. Now that those projects are starting to wind down, as we heard in the presentation tonight, the timing just seems appropriate to look at the system holistically, like Bruce said, and come up with a plan that we can implement over the long term.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I mean, now's the time to do this. So is there any questions from board members for HRG regarding the overview of the asset management plan? Okay, if there's none, I don't think there's any action needs to be taken at this point, so.
It does require action, Mr. Chairman, because we're going to talk about the budget next, but this money is in the draft budget, but we have money in this year's budget as well. So in order for them to get started, it's under the current retainer agreement.
Okay.
Does that require action, Jason? I guess it does. I don't know if it does.
If it's under the current retainer agreement, it would not require action, I would not believe.
Yeah, I think
that's correct.
Yeah,
Morgan?
because if it's already, if it's already under the retainer agreement, we're already paying for it, so nothing. Okay, thank you very much. I think we're good to go. Okay, draft 2026 stormwater budget and stormwater sewer fee rate model. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The rate model, or you want me to go to the budget?
Do the budget first. This will be quick because, again, this is a little easier on the stormwater side. There is no rate increase proposed in 2026. The stormwater fund is in very good shape. The 2026 budget revenues are prepared at the existing rate, $104 a year, $26 a quarter. That gets you $3,510,000 and a total revenues of $3,750,141. Your total expenses, including your current debt, are provided here. And under the operation and maintenance budget, that gives you a stormwater operating expense of $3,560,150. So you can see that we're in a little better shape on the stormwater side as your revenues still currently exceed your expenses on the O&M. There's no questions on the O&M. I can talk about the capital budget.
Any questions for Mr. Weaver on the operating budget? If not, we'll go to the capital funds.
Board members, the capital fund, sort of like what sewer used to be, is very aggressive and has a lot of projects. HRG currently has 14 plus projects under design or construction. These are all listed here. Some of these you can see are winding down. BC7, of course, PC3 is winding down this year. PC2 is done. These are just closing out these projects. The more aggressive ones are finishing up the design for Forest Hills, Colonial Park improvements. We're finishing up all the designs there. It's anticipated that we would start in Colonial Park would be the Prince Street Mobility Improvement Project. The stormwater work would have to be done before the township does that project. All the other projects we've talked about briefly before. Uto Avenue, the township had some flooding issues that eroded the roadway. That project's being fast-tracked as well. The design is anticipated to be done in 2026. And we just talked about the asset management plan and the annual paving project, and the rest of that is just our stormwater crew. So the total capital improvements for 2026 is $3,507,356. Be happy to answer any questions on the stormwater budget.
Yeah, I think the key here is that the budget, we have projects in place to do next year. We can do them with the cash reserves that we currently have and not having to raise rates. And we don't see the need to raise rates on the stormwater anytime soon.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Should we even look at the rate model if we're not?
I would just like to pull it up. I do have to make just one brief comment.
Hey, Bill, I want you to take I need you getting a lesson on how to make these pages a little bit bigger. All right.
Board members, so this is the rate model that GHD gave us. That now what you learn that when engineers do a project for you, you actually own it, so you can take it from them. So we stole it from them, and we imported our stormwater information in and made our own stormwater rate model. Unfortunately, I've been doing this sort of on my own, and I do have a retirement end date of either this year or next year, so I had to turn this over to HRG. Bruce and Jason and their financial team will be taking this over in 2026. That is sort of part of the asset management plan that we just talked about. This 10-year plan will be imported like we did sewer into. Right now, the model shows that we don't have any rate increases for the next few years. That is because we met our obligations under MS4, and we don't have any MS4 costs projected in the next 5 years. So that gives time for this asset management planning, HRG to take over this rate model and what your revenue requirements are going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. That's all my comments on the rate model.
Any questions for Mr. Weaver on the rate model? Okay, any questions for Mr. Weaver on the budget for the storm sewer? All right, hearing none, again, this will be coming back to us for final approval in November. I think at this point, though, this is pretty set budget at the moment, and we'll look at anything that we need to do to tweak there, any numbers that we need to tweak. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think what you saw there will probably be what you're going to see again in November. Okay, if there's no other comments there on the draft budget, let's go to township reports. Update on the DEP, JPRP, MS4, and storm sewer replacement projects.
Board members, I'll turn it over to Larry pretty quick. I just want to make a couple comments. I did pass out to the board tonight the Authority magazine. I was approached by the editor of the magazine from PMA, so I've known for quite some time, and they asked if we'd be willing to do an article on our stormwater MS4 program. So we do have a partnership under our joint pollution reduction plan with Sierra W and Susquehanna. So I co-authored a article in the Authority magazine that is been published and been sent out for the August issue. The only other report I have on stormwater before Larry takes over is that the projects that HRG is designing have been worked out with staff to some degree, and we have monthly meetings with HRG and quarterly task meetings because stormwater is becoming, as Bruce eloquently said, the sanitary sewer, and there is a big demand that we're adjusting to for staffing and the resources that are needed on stormwater, which I did not anticipate. It's a lot of work, so we are making those adjustments. And I'll turn it over to Larry because part of that adjustment is this new crew and the success that they're having. And Larry, in typical fashion, provides a report on what the crew's activities are on a quarterly basis.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Last quarter when we were here, we talked about the paving project. I'm happy to report in July we wrapped that project up. The 2025 paving project should be taking place here very soon. That'd be a Public Works question. After that, we moved into behind the Public Works campus. There was a basin that we retrofitted. We had a grant to perform that work. And basically that was something for us to be able to get some credit for on our MS4 program and basically bring that basin up to snuff on today's standards for that MS4 program. Currently, we are buckets into the Lancaster Avenue section of the Claremont project. That project should be wrapping up here at the end of September, beginning of October, and then our crew will be done with the Claremont project. If you scroll down then some, I just want to give you some photos of what we did here in the month of August with the Public Works basin. That is the before picture. As you can see, it doesn't look much like a basin from the overhead. Our crews, jointly with the Public Works Department, were able to get a lot of manpower together to be able to basically strip that all down, install new storm infrastructure to bring it up to date. And as you can see, we worked many man hours to be able to topsoil and seed at the banks. And right now we're just waiting for grass to grow. In the previous storm here this past week, the basin did exactly what it was designed for by HRG, with the water running into the basin, collecting and holding, just like the MS4 program basically outlines for it to do. And that is the end of that project there. And as I said, we're back in the Claremont area. We'll be wrapping that up here in the next month or so and moving on from there.
Okay.
The Public Works Basin was funded by a grant, and I'll be working with Larry and the PW staff and HRG assist us in preparing that reimbursement request for those expenses.
Okay. Bill, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for staff regarding that work there? Nice job on that basin. It looks very nice.
Just wanted to pass along thanks and commendation, you and the staff, for doing a great job as typical. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Last item. Man, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Engineer's report. I know you get excited about these engineer's reports.
I do.
Were you here when Mr. Seeds was on the board?
I was,
Seeds,
yeah.
Mr. Seeds would go through these engineering reports like with a fine-tooth comb.
He loved it.
He loved it. Yeah, he really dug it. So, all right, you're up.
All right. Well, thankfully for the board, a lot of the things on my report have been discussed already. So I'll just hit some of the highlights. I did want to mention that MS4 annual reports are coming due the end of September. Our team has been working with Larry to ensure that we have everything to submit a complete report ahead of the deadline. A lot of the projects have already been discussed. I think one that maybe hadn't come up yet was the Melbourne Drive project. That's another storm sewer replacement project out in the Forest Hills neighborhood that's under design, one of those 14 that Bill mentioned. That's pretty sizable. Progress continues on that, as well as the other projects that were brought up. The PC3 project that Larry was just giving updates on, we are hopeful that Dolly is able to complete the majority of the work this year. Depending on what kind of seasonal weather we get to finish out the year, there is the potential that some of the restoration items could carry into next year, similar to what occurred on the BC7 project. Great news to report on the Friendship YMCA Stormwater Basin water quality retrofit project. Substantial completion inspection for that project. It's actually happening tomorrow, so all went well. That's one that'll come off the list here probably by the next time we get together in November. Going further down, I think the only other thing I wanted to make the board aware of is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer storm sewer inventory and condition assessment. Mr. Weaver may have briefed you already on this, but that's a program where the Corps and the authority split costs to have about $225,000 worth of storm sewer assessed. To date, the Corps has only turned over about 20% of what was originally anticipated in that contract. So we are helping staff try to recoup some of those costs that haven't been realized through that contract. And then lastly, in addition to Bruce, I just wanted to recognize another one of my colleagues that's here tonight, Maitland Griner, who's sitting behind me. Out of those 14 projects that Bill mentioned, she was part of the design team for a lot of those, so happy to bring her out to the meeting here tonight.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
Any other questions for HRG on the engineer's report? All right.
Just one staff comment. We're talking about all these stormwater projects. The next big project you'll see will be right in front of us next year. They're finishing up the Colonial Park Phase C design, and because it's a federal contract, HRG's telling me that we can't put the stormwater work into that pedestrian project, which the township has a grant for. So we have to do the stormwater work before that project. So we're fast tracking that. We also put a grant application in for $500,000. We're not going to find out till February, March, April next year, but we're going to ask HRG to get that bid ready to go early next year. So when we hear about the grant, that we can start the stormwater. So that will be some disruption to the community right in front of us, right in front of the township building here, but it's a much needed project for stormwater. But that's the next big storm pipe project that you'll see occurring from the list that HRG's working on. So I just wanted to point that out for the board tonight.
Nobody points it out like you do there, Bill Weaver. Good work. Okay. All right. If there's no other questions on any engineer's reports, is there any other comments by board members, anything that you... Okay, so before we go to adjournment, next meeting is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025, 7 p.m. right here in this room. I can't believe that would be, 2 days before Thanksgiving. And other than that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Thank you.
Man. Make sure.